Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, beef. Yeah.
Right, where he's wondering he's like, I
Patty to patty.
He won style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro. Like,
yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good morning, everybody. Jesus, I about to say good evening. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show, the weekly dump. It is our Sunday morning show. Man, welcome. It has been quite the week. We've had a lot of good games, a lot of good sports games, a lot of college football going on. We got the national championship game. But let me just start off by saying, folks, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. And if you slept your way to the top, the world will watch you fall all the way back down. And I am always, of course, talking about what's going on in the old Fox Sports Network. Jesus, that was the most exciting. I mean, that news. So if you've been living under a rock or haven't been on social media for the last week, Mrs. Joy Taylor, which I'll admit, I didn't even know who Joy was until this scandal, I guess you could say, has broken out. I don't really watch a lot of Fox Sports stuff unless it's the games, but because half the people on there, I think they're just not the brightest people in the bunch, clickbait people. But boy, Joy Taylor was sleeping her way up to the top. And somebody was like, hey, this girl's her friend, this hairdresser, was like, hey, just let y'all know, I'm suing Fox Sports. Joy Taylor's sleeping with everybody. She admitted to it. She was having an affair with Ocho, and her husband found out, and they got a divorce. Was also sleeping with the president of Fox Sports. And at one point in time, I guess Skip Bayless offered this hairdresser $1 million to sleep with Skip, and she said, no, thank you. Holy shit, $1 million. First of all, Skip, I mean, you can find somebody cheaper than that, than $1 million. Second of all, good for her for not taking the $1 million. And Joy, if she did do these things, it's pretty evident that she did do these things. I mean, shame on her. I kind of go back and forth like, hey, you're going to do what you got to do to get a job. But at the same time, like, there's hardworking women in the job that are trying to make their way, and they're not doing those shady things. But sometimes people going to do what they're going to do, and to get ahead in life. And well, she got ahead by giving some head, should I say. She pressed the right numbers and, and everything else. But man, what a wild encounter. I mean, I did a deep dive, man. I'm hook, line, and sinker. And you got all the clips coming out of her and Acho together. And boy, did Shannon Sharp leave at the right time. And his name was not elevated into that. And maybe that's one of the reasons, Joy or Skip left, and it's because the Joy Taylor and $1 million and all that. But nonetheless, it's we'll go ahead and we'll bring in my guy is back off his after taking the bye week to recuperate from the Dolphins and everything else. Give it up for Mr. Yankee Finn, Johnny. Johnny, what's up?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here. At first, I want to throw out that this is all allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't want my man Nick Bodkins having any kind of issues and stuff like that. But
allegedly.
Yeah, I'm not
looking for a new co-host, or I won't sleep my way with nobody, but I might do some shady things to.
Right. No, I hear you on that one. I'm not the biggest Fox Sports fan anyway. I don't watch those shows. I know Joy Taylor only because she's Jason Taylor's sister. Jason Taylor, the famous, the famous Hall of Fame Miami Dolphins. So I knew her name that way, and that she was on shows and stuff like that. She used to be like the co-host or sidekick for Colin Cowherd back in the day.
Well, before that, she was like a DJ, Yeah,
something. But again, allegedly, you do what you got to do. But yes, like you said, there are some hardworking women out there that are doing it the right way. So that sucks if it's true that she did what she did, especially if she's cheating on her husband and stuff like that.
No, they already got a divorce, so she did.
Okay, so she did do that. So yeah, so
we don't know if that's the reason they got a divorce, but one can only assume.
Right? Yeah, one can only assume. But like you said, the stuff done in the darkness is always going to come to light. So it's crazy how dominating of a story that was for pretty much the whole week. But we did have some good sports in the meantime.
These Acho and he's the one promoting her. Well, it's like, hey, get Joy, and then you couldn't find a white. You never know these like president people because you don't ever see them. But the Fox Sports president looks like about the whitest dude in the world.
Right.
He's like you know what I mean? Like he was probably, I ain't never had no cup of sugar before. So
right. Or like Jason Whitlock called her the peanut butter skinned mama with a big rack.
Get out of here, Whitlock, too, with this bullshit. He's like, stay away from me, Joy. I know what I can do. Now, shut up, Whitlock. Ain't nobody see with your fat ass anyway. I can't stand his ass.
Yeah, that was funny to hear him saying, "Yeah, stay away from me." Like, bro, nobody wanted you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She wasn't like, "Ooh, Whitlock is the person I need to be."
Right.
She found her money training Acho and the white dude.
Right,
I mean, he should have found somebody. If he wanted some, milk chocolate, he should have found somebody. Somebody else. And Skip Bayless, $1 million to sleep with somebody.
Yeah, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying?
$1 million.
I think it was I think it was actually 1.5 or something like that. But props to her.
In my head, I was thinking 1.5 million, but I was like, for her to like, that's how detailed that lady is like 1.5 million. That's like a contract. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he signed for a 1-year deal, 1.5 million. Oh shit, she was like, he offered me to have sex with him for 1.5 million. First of all,
and where did he start? Did he start with what's up with 750 grand? No, okay, 1 million, 1.25, no, 1.5.
Look, I can clean out my kid's savings account. Right. 1.5 million.
He was like, final offer 1.5, and she was like, okay then.
Let me see a titty. 1.5 million. You could have got down on the street corner, Skip, and found somebody just as good for less.
Right.
One of these OnlyFans girls. Hey, good for her. Somebody offered me a 1.5 million. I'm prepared to do some shady shit for that kind of money.
Yeah, you ain't lying, bro. You and me both.
I mean, if if the roles were reversed, a woman offered me 1.5 million, I'd be like, shit. I mean, if you willing to spend 30 seconds for 1.5 million, I guess that's on you. $1.5 million? Shit. All right.
Yeah. That's the easiest money right there to make, boy.
Hope it was worth it.
Right. Oh shit. That's crazy, though.
For real.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what else comes out of that, because it's going crazy. It's wild.
It is. I haven't really. I've only talked to like one other person about it, so I wanted to kind of talk. I knew you would know a little bit about it, but man,
yeah.
Let's get into some real sports now. Man, I had to get that out though. What's that offer? Like 1 point? He's like $50. What? $50? All right, 250,000. Nah. Like you said, 1.5 million final offer. If any more than that, my wife will find out. Like, first of all, how do you offer somebody $1.5 million and be like, and don't expect nobody to know? Like, shit, if I got $50 out missing out of the account, my wife is going to ask some questions. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Skip,
and I mean,
go.
1.5, like what is it? Just like constantly dripping gold. You know what I'm saying? So you're saying, come on, man.
Hey, baby, I spent that 1.5 million. Our kid can't go to college now.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right. That's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, hey, yeah, it was done in the dark will be brought to the light, and good for her. Good for her for turning it now. And she was hanging around shady ass Joy Taylor. So, I didn't know. Somebody else told me that she was your guys, Jason Taylor's sister. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit! I didn't know she had worked her way up, literally. To be honest,
I mean that's what I thought. Or at worst, I thought maybe the fact that she had her connection with her brother. You know what I'm saying? Her brother played in the league, so that might have kind of helped her get into it. But
it's not like he's on. It's not like he's on.
Right.
On sports or anything.
Right, but just the name, you know what I'm saying, might have given her an opportunity to like get her foot in the door, but you know what I'm saying, apparently she did the rest. So
hey, she got something in the door, if you know what I'm saying. So. All right, let's get it. Let's talk a little NFL. Let's talk about those games yesterday. What the Chargers going to charge her, Johnny?
Yes, they are.
I mean, the Chargers gonna charge her. I picked them on our Thursday show. I thought, the Texans they'll probably be one and done. My guy Carlos is telling me that last week on this program. Man, they didn't even show up. That Texans defense lit them up.
Yeah, another example of I'm right there with you. I had the Chargers as well. I just expected them to come, and Houston had kind of a down year considering, even though they won the division or whatever. But I thought LA would go in there and establish the running game, be physical with them, but they weren't able to do nothing. And then when they put it in Justin Herbert's hands, he just, he completely shit the bed.
I wouldn't say some of it wasn't on. Some of those interceptions,
some of it wasn't. But I mean, if you're supposed to be that guy with all the hype and stuff that Justin Herbert gets, you expect him to at least make it competitive, make some plays to give his team a chance and stuff like that. But to lose 32-12 when they were up 6-0 early, and then it just flipped on his head so quick.
They had to set up for field goals too. When they couldn't get up a touchdown and go up 10-0 or 14-0, especially after CJ Stroud after that it was a fumble by Mechie on their first play. I'm like, oh shit, this could be a long day for the Texans. You just had that feeling, and then their defense holds them to a field goal. You're like, well, shit, man. You know what I mean? All they need is a touchdown here, and they're right back in it, and they never looked back.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just seemed like it just wasn't meant for the Chargers that day. So I mean, you add this game to the debacle that was that 28 lead against Jacksonville. I mean, the only two playoff games that Herbert has played in haven't exactly been the greatest of games for him, but I still like what the Chargers are building and putting together under Jim Harbaugh. So it is what it is. Houston moves on to probably get destroyed by whoever they play next, but it was.
Who they would play? It could be if the Bills win, they would be them and the Bills, I believe. Nobody knows who's playing who yet.
Yeah, I don't know yet, but I
guess the Ravens were the 2 seed, right? Or no, the Bills were the 2 seeds.
The Bills were the 2 seed. Ravens were 3. Houston 4.
Texans would play the Chiefs if the Bills win today, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Well, regardless, if they got to go to Arrowhead, if they got to go to Baltimore or even Buffalo, I just don't see Houston. I mean, unless CJ Stroud completely goes crazy, I don't see Houston advancing much further. But I mean, they got good pieces there, and I mean, for all of us saying that it was a down year considering the expectations for Houston, I mean, they could always go on a nice run here in the wild card, and then you never know. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna forget about the fact that it was a quote unquote down year for them.
Yeah. So I'm saying if Denver wins, it'll be Baltimore. If Buffalo wins, it's KC for I don't.
Either way, so it's either Baltimore or Kansas City. So I don't know. I think it'll stop there.
If their defense plays as good as it did yesterday, though, you know what I mean? Their defense is legit. It's just sometimes their offense goes through these
those
Spot.
lulls. Yeah, these lulls, right? Yeah, but I mean, and props to them for doing what they had to do to win that game. But you're gonna go up against either Lamar Jackson, and we saw what he did and Baltimore did yesterday, or Josh Allen and the way he's been playing this year. Or Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes. Like, obviously, you're not gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes, but
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you win it and move on. You know what I'm saying? Survive and move on, and that's all that matters in the playoffs. And Houston was able to do that.
Yeah, and for like you said, what this is Herbert's like this way.
This is second playoff game. It's his fifth year in the league. Yeah, fifth year.
And only in 0 playoff wins. Like you said, he had a lot of hype and still does. Like, he's a good quarterback, but it's like, man, like, you're at that point where we're looking for you to be that elite guy. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm questioning, like, where are you at? Are you probably in the 6 to 10 range more than the top 5 range? You know what I'm saying? And
if that, yeah, I would say 6 to 10, probably closer to 10, considering, especially with the way the Chargers could have completely changed the way they're doing. I'm saying they're all about the big offensive line and being physical, running the ball, not asking Justin Herbert to do too much.
I will say, though, good for the Chargers, though. Like, they rebuilt that thing pretty quick. Like,
hell yeah, they did.
You know what I mean? Like, Jim Harbaugh's got them going. They need some. Lab McConkey's a stud, but they need another guy outside of him. Quentin Johnson is absolutely stone hands, can't catch a cold. So,
oh my God, it's crazy, bro. But yeah, they definitely need to get this kid another weapon. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, they solidified the offensive line, and again, I'm gonna trust it in Jim Harbaugh. You know what I'm saying? He's won everywhere he's gone, so I'll be anxious to see what they put together for next year. I'm sure it's gonna be better. So.
Yeah, and let's get to I mean, he had 3 picks all year and had 4 yesterday, and I think one of them like bounced off of a player's hand. Some of them weren't his, and I mean, and the Texans defense is really good. Like Singletary, I kind of got. I mean, Texans fans will tell you Stingy is the best corner in the league. I think it's the guy in Patrick Surtain in Denver, but I mean, their secondary.
Yeah, but Stingley's a top 5 corner easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not debating that. And even the other kid on the other side, the kid out of Georgia, that the rookie they have, he's really good. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. No, they're definitely they're definitely building it the right way. You know what I'm saying? And then especially in that division. Houston's going to be a problem for years to come as long as CJ stays healthy. We don't know what's going to happen with Tank Dell. I feel bad for him. Hopefully he can come back at some point. But Nico's a dude.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon balled out. I don't know how long his contract was for or whatever, but they definitely need to shore up that offensive line. Besides Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, that offensive line isn't the best. So they need to beef up that offensive line to kind of help CJ out.
Yeah, Allen's right. Plus, they got Jalen Petrie, who's a really good DB as well. Like the Texans are set on, like you said, their offensive line. And I mean, Texans fans absolutely shit on Bobby Slovic all season, and rightfully so. Like at times, their offense, especially in the second half, there's no like adjustments or things like that. It feels like we'll see. But I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Baltimore or Kansas City and just get the doors blown off.
Yeah. And again, like you said, they put that good deal. You know, they got the Will Anderson kid at edge. You know what I'm saying? Like
Neil Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, they were bad for a few years, had some really high draft picks, but they hit on all those picks. That's the difference between a good team and a team that's living around 500 forever.
Yeah. Speaking of living in maybe purgatory hell, it might be the Steelers. Like, I mean, I love Mike Tomlin. He's a hell of a coach. I'm not saying fire Mike Tomlin, but he's almost too damn good, right? Like, they're always going to make the wild card, but then never be like, they don't have that elite quarterback and that elite team to carry them past that. You know what I mean? Like, he's good enough coach to be 9-8 and 10 and you know what I mean? 10.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a good enough coach to keep them from having a losing record, but
they need a losing record.
Right. Yeah, so they can pick high and try to get themselves a quarterback, but
they're in purgatory hell right now. It's like they're almost like that 8-8 team, but like it's like they just can't.
Like my fucking Dolphins. They're just better. You know what I'm saying? They just have a winning record every year and they make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? We barely make the playoffs, and I mean they've won a couple playoff games or whatever, but
they haven't won a playoff game in a decade.
I was about to say they haven't won probably since the Super Bowl, right? The last time, well, they might have won a couple after that, but I mean, yeah, since they had Ben,
10 years, yeah,
right, since they had Ben,
yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see where they pivot as far as their quarterback. I don't know that they bring Russ back. How do they feel about Justin and his possible development, or do they just try to go? You know, I don't see them in the Sam Darnold sweepstakes, but do they go with a veteran type guy to, try to hold it down for a year or two and maybe draft somebody in the second round or something that they could develop?
Are free agents after this year. Right. They both were on deals, so.
Yeah, but I mean, this past offseason, they solidified the offensive line. I know that they're young, obviously rookies, but they try to shore up their offensive line this past offseason. So I'm sure they'll make that front office, bro. They draft well and stuff like that, so they'll make some good choices or whatever. But yeah, if you don't got a quarterback, you can make it to the playoffs, you can be a halfway decent team, but if you ain't got a dude, you're not gonna win these playoff games, especially in a division where you got Lamar and you got Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to see.
Josh Allen
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, right? That's what I'm saying.
Go through all those guys just to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you want to throw CJ in that mix, and then you know what I'm saying, like it's gonna be the AFC with all these young quarterbacks, man. It's gonna be interesting what happens over the next few years. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be tough sledding to get through the AFC, man.
Yeah, and the Steelers, that game, I just never felt like they were in it at all.
No, not at all, bro. I mean, it almost seemed like Baltimore was just playing with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
once they got up by like 2 scores, you could have pretty much, like, while Pittsburgh finally got some offense going in the second half, you just knew like they had no answer. Like their Pittsburgh's defense just had no answer for Lamar or Derrick Henry.
Right. And they were notoriously, they always usually had a good game plan for Lamar. But when you add that dynamic of the 6'3", 240-pound running back like Derrick Henry, you know what I'm saying? Like when he signed with Baltimore, I was like, oh damn, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the one place you did not want to see that big ass motherfucker go. To Baltimore, because he just opens everything up for Lamar to be able to use his legs, and then the way he's able to maneuver the pocket and make plays off script and shit. Lamar is a dude, man. Like him, Josh Allen. Like, we talk so much about elite quarterbacks. There's 3, bro. There's obviously 15 in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes. There's Josh Allen, and there's Lamar. Then there's a lot.
I think Joe Burrow's right there.
Joe Burrow is like right under. He's top of the next level. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a lot of good quarterbacks, and then whatever, blah blah. But as far as like elite, it's those 3, and then Joe Burrow is like right under those 3.
Yeah. I would put. Maybe I'm just high on Joe, and he just doesn't run the ball like the other. You know what I mean? He's more of the pocket, the old school pocket passer, but can get obviously has legs to get out of. But he just can throw things on a dime that guys can't. But
I'm with you, bro. He just makes shit happen, bro. Like he's just one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
and so does Lamar. Let me ask you this: like, is there more pressure on Lamar or Josh Allen in these playoffs? There's probably no more pressure than on any 2 players in this entire playoffs than those 2 guys.
Damn, that's a great question, because the pressure on those 2 is probably more than anybody else in the league. I guess I would say Lamar, only because he's got the couple of MVPs. You know what I'm saying? Right. So maybe a little bit more on him.
MVP this year,
yeah. He could honestly win his 3rd MVP. I honestly think Josh Allen should probably get it. But I mean, I wouldn't feel any kind of way if Lamar got it again. He's obviously deserving, but I think there's a little bit more pressure on Lamar just because of the MVPs and because that he's gotten the label of, you know what I'm saying, not getting it done in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? They haven't put that on Josh Allen yet. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's competed, you know what I'm saying, he's gone toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and stuff like that. So he's lost to those two guys.
I think this year there's more pressure on Lamar because, like, to me, at the beginning of the year, you would have said Baltimore's the better team, right? They had Derrick Henry. Right. They have Zay's hurt, right? Missed yesterday, but they have Zay Flowers. They have, you know what I mean? These weapons. Like, you looked at Baltimore, it's like, oh, or Buffalo, like on the other end, it's like, well, they lost Diggs, they lost Davis, they lost, you know what I mean? Their secondaries beat up. So, like, the Bills are probably the lesser of the two teams, especially at the beginning of the year. Now I know the Bills got the 2 seed. But I would
and they made that trade mid-year for Amari Cooper. Yeah. But I mean, I think that strengthens Josh Allen's MVP talk. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he had the lesser team probably than Baltimore, and he still advanced his team to the number 2 seed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And granted, his division is absolute dog shit with the Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots, but still, I think they clinched in like, you know, on Halloween and shit. Like they clinched early as hell. But
like a month to, you know, where they're just
but considering that, you know, they went into the season with, you know, supposedly a lesser team, that's why I would give Josh Allen a little bit more props as far as the MVP. But the shit that Lamar does is just it's incredible, man. He's so much fun to watch, and
it's Michael Vick-esque. If Michael Vick took his career as serious as Lamar did when he was in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
And Michael Vick will tell you that he didn't watch game film, he didn't do any of that stuff the whole time in Atlanta. Just lived off of talent, which I mean he was one of one. And Lamar is one of one and has the talent around him and is focused, right? Like his focus.
Yeah, and Baltimore, you know what I'm saying? Baltimore, the franchise itself, has done a lot more to like put Lamar in a better situation, whether it be with coaches or the players around him. Atlanta was just so happy to have Michael Vick that they basically just let him do whatever he wanted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but no, I'm with you there. Yeah, Lamar is just a more, I guess, disciplined and more built up, you know what I'm saying, polished player than Michael Vick was. But Michael Vick was he was insane. But props to Lamar for working on his craft and doing what he's got to do to put his team in this position, man.
Remember when they came in, like, he can't pass. Well, this year he has like, I'd have to look it up, but like his touchdown interception ratio is like damn near 4-1. Like only like Aaron Rodgers has been any better like throughout his career the last like 2 years of what Lamar's done. So you know, like he's like you said, he's working.
I mean, and he did it. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday without, you know what I'm saying?
Without Zay.
Without Zay Flowers in the game. You know what I'm saying? One of the, you know, because I think Zay Flowers like not only led the team in catches, but I think like the next highest one was probably Mark Andrews, and I don't even think it was all that many catches. You know what I'm saying? So it was all Zay Flowers for the most part. And they still got it done with, like you said, with ease. You know what I'm saying? I never at any point in time thought Pittsburgh had a chance to win that game.
And just the body language on Pittsburgh, like in their, you know,
it's almost like they knew they couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like, damn, we had to be matched up with them. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna have no chance. Yeah.
In their offense, George Pickens after the game, he said, "You've been here." They're like, "You've been here 3 years. Have you seen improvements in the offense?" Yeah, I've seen it. I'd say there's improvements. Does that give you hope going in the future? Nope.
Yeah, he is not shy to say what's on his mind.
Surprised if he's back in Pittsburgh. I know he's talented, but I would be surprised if he's back in Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, Mike Tomlin doesn't seem to like to do, and they always find ways to find receivers, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there with Pickens, because he's definitely talented. He's just his mentality and his, you're saying, he's just knucklehead, bro. He don't take shit seriously, man, and it sucks because he's got so much talent. But that was his issue going all the way back to college. You know what I'm saying? That was his issue.
Yeah, he's talented, but again, sometimes it's between the ears. What do you do if you're Pittsburgh? Do you just try to tear this thing down, or do you just try to and like you said, maybe they try to go get Darnold. I think Justin, like, I would like to see a good look at Justin Fields. At least he adds a little bit different dynamic to your offense than Russ. And Russ played good, but not great. And they need somebody that elite. I don't know what to do with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they did get a look at Justin Fields, the beginning of the season when Russ was out and he was winning games, and they still went to Russ. You know what I'm saying? So they obviously didn't see something in practice or whatever, and knew that they were winning games, but it wasn't because of him. So I don't know, man. Like I said, that's why I think they can go with a more veteran, a more veteran quarterback to kind of hold it down. I don't know who. I have no idea who. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they need somebody with some experience that can go in there and lead this team, until they can develop a quarterback, I guess, to take over full time. But because they got all the other pieces there. They, like I said, they got a young offensive line, but they're, they're going to grow together. The defense is always top tier. They're going to have to, obviously invest and tweak some on the defense because they're getting a little older on the defensive side of the ball. They got some weapons.
So
they got a good tight end. You know what I'm saying? So
here's the list of names that are free agents. Now they'd have to trade for one, and I don't know who you trade for.
Right.
That's like a backup that you feel. Sam Darnold, which I personally feel like the Vikings should keep and are going to keep. Zach Wilson, you going to go get Zach Wilson? No.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance? No.
Nope.
Jacoby Brissett? No. Marcus Mariota? No.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, Jared Stidham, Drew Lock, like Andy Dalton, like none of those guys. Maybe bring in Joe Flacco. You know what I mean? Like that field, like Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Jimmy G, and the names just they get worse.
That's just a horrible list, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they try to make a play for like a Kirk Cousins? You know what I'm saying? To try to get Kirk Cousins out of Atlanta.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the only person that I could think of, but man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You would have to ask Atlanta to eat some of that money.
Right.
And I just don't know. I mean, the way Kirk Cousins played this year, like, you know what I mean? He ain't no better than what Russ was or Justin Fields was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, man. That's the thing, man, about the, you know what I'm saying? One thing about the NFL, if you ain't got a guy, you ain't got a chance, man.
That's the number one
problem.
spot. You got to have a guy.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. But as far as the first thing, you know what I'm saying, that you mentioned that about the, you know what I'm saying, I know Steelers fans are upset with Mike Tomlin or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, he's obviously a good leader of men. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Find your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a top 2 or 3 quarterback, but find yourself a good, serviceable quarterback, even if it's just a really good game manager, the one that's not going to throw interceptions, going to make the right plays or whatever, because Pittsburgh's all about running the ball, playing defense anyway. So if they keep solidifying the offensive line and you can have a quarterback that's just not going to lose the game for you, they can win a lot of games until you do find that guy that can make that special play when you need it.
That's what they've been doing the last 4 years, and they just can't.
Right, but they just haven't. They were hoping it was Kenny Pickett, and he turned out to not be that dude. And then they, you know what I'm saying, they took 2 swings this year going with Justin and Russ. You know what I'm saying? So, but as far as like getting rid of Mike, like if they get rid of Mike Tomlin, like there's gonna be 15 other teams that are going to – teams that have coaches right now are going to fire their coach to go get Mike Tomlin. That's how good of a coach he is. So Pittsburgh, I mean, I know you're a bit of a spoiled franchise, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, but my man has never had a losing season in, 16, 17 years? Yeah. Like, you can't just spit on that.
The Jets, the Browns.
Right. The Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams that would love a coach like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, bro. So – yeah, you're not happy with how it ended and how these last few seasons have ended or whatever, but the grass ain't always greener, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So appreciate what you have. They'll make the adjustments.
Years that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro. And he still has that Super Bowl in his back pocket too. You know what I'm saying? So be grateful for what you got, Pittsburgh, because it could be a lot worse. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got 3 games. Real quick, we got some 3 games on the slate today, and then I want to talk about the college game real quick. Man, my Packers. The first game today's Broncos Bills. I'm all in on the Bills here. I think Bo Nix has played great or good, but this Bills team to me is just not that they're on a mission. I just think like they'll confuse the young kid and win this one.
Yeah, and I mean I know the Broncos defense has played well all year, but again, Josh Allen's just on another level, bro. And I know they don't have the Amari Cooper's not the the same one he was 5 years ago. He's still a really good player. James Cook is a great player. They got 2 really good tight ends, and then again you got that dude with Josh Allen. The defense is making just enough plays to win games, but I'm with you. I'm not gonna say they're on a mission, but I'm not gonna bet against Buffalo unless Buffalo is playing Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I'm not gonna bet against Buffalo. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That game will be, man. Next week we could get if the Bills win, it'll be Bills Ravens.
That'll be fun, bro. That'll be fun.
Because the Chiefs will play the Texans.
Yeah, the two MVP, lead MVP guys with Josh Allen and Lamar.
Award, but just be like, whoever has the better game.
Yeah, just kidding. But that one's gonna be interesting because again the Ravens with Derrick Henry and their defense has been playing a lot better. Like that one's gonna be interesting where like Josh Allen will literally have to put a cape on to beat the Ravens and Kansas City as well, probably because Kansas City with that defense is good too. But that's an interesting matchup. I like Bo Nix and what he's done with the Broncos this year, but going up to Buffalo and beating Josh Allen and the Bills, that's a tall task.
Yeah, it is. It's a tall task, and I think the Bills, I think they'll get it done. And then my Packers play that afternoon slate.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people, and maybe I'm just like pessimistic, you know what I mean? But I see a lot of people in my Green Bay Twitter line. They really feel like we can win this game. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pessimistic. Like,
well, I mean, I think you're trying to, it's almost like subconsciously you're trying to like not be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? So you're going into it with your doubts or whatever. But this is one of those prime examples. Again, we talked about, for most of the season, the job your coach did with completely changing the game plan this year. We're going with more of a running game with Jacobs and not having, Jordan Love have to do too much. I know you're down Watson or whatever, the Christian Watson kid, but I've told you before, I'm a big fan of Jordan Love. I think he can be one of those guys. I know he hasn't had the best of seasons this year, but I wouldn't put it past him to just go nuts against Philly, especially since Jalen Hurts. We don't know. I know he cleared protocol and whatever, but if that Packer defense can at least slow down Saquon, I think they could have a chance if Jordan Love plays a clean game, no turnovers, makes the throws he needs to make. They're able to run the ball, shorten the game.
Which one of these wide receivers the Green Bay is going to step up? Like,
Reed or which one of them, Dobbs, Yeah, it could be a tight end that steps up with a couple of big catches.
Somebody in this receiving game has got to step up.
Or I mean, I know the Eagles are loaded up, but Josh Jacobs could go nuts. Against this Eagles team. But I think a lot of it is going to lie on Jalen Hurts and how good is he after this whole concussion stuff. So we'll see what happens. But the first thing is trying to somewhat contain Saquon, because if Saquon goes crazy, then you guys got no chance.
Yeah, agreed. And who knows? Saquon got the rest last week, so in the nightcap game, it's funny because like week one Packers Eagles, and week one was Commanders Bucks. And who would have thought when the Commanders lost to the Bucks that they would win 12 games this year and make the playoffs at that point in time. And now they are headed to Tampa on the Sunday night game. This game, it's the spread is now -3 Tampa only because it's a home game. So it's just like, man, like this game could go either way. Like Jaden Daniels has proved that he is a dude on the rise. And Baker, while what he lacks in some things, like, man, that kid is just motivational. Like just a guy that you're like, this dude can lead a locker room and lead. Maybe he's not world talented like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, but he's a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think he can. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think he can lead his team. But the Commanders, I want to say, like, to me, like I'm kind of leaning towards the Bucks just because they got the experience and that stuff. But man, I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders win because Jaden Daniels does have all the talent in the world, and he's got a guy that he throws to who's got all the talent in the world, and Terry McLaurin. And that Commanders defense is decent, but I just feel like the Bucks probably escape a close game here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I went with the Bucks as well. The Bucks, one of the best running teams in football, one of the best defenses against the run. And that's the best thing, you know what I'm saying, for the playoffs is the ability to run and stop the run. Washington's defense is a little suspect, and not only is Tampa one of the top running teams, but their passing was really good. Baker had a really good year. Mike Evans and crew for Tampa Bay. I worry about Washington's defense, but I'm with you on Daniels. I love this kid. He's got all the intangibles. He's got everything you want in a quarterback. The leader. He's poised. He's got a good arm. He's mobile. He can make plays. So I think Washington is a year early. But props to them for going from 4-13 to winning 12 games and getting into the playoffs like they did. Props to them. Big time
Dan Quinn
season.
could be coach of the year.
Absolutely. And I was shitting on that hire. I ain't even gonna front. Like I was like, Dan Quinn, why the hell are you hiring Dan Quinn? But hey, props to Dan Quinn and that whole Washington squad
he
for what
did
they're
the right
doing.
thing, brought in good Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. You know what I mean? Like somebody to kind of run the offense. Like I'll take care of the defense. Cliff's gonna do the offense. Like you know what I mean? Like they got a squad.
Yeah, that one has a chance to be a really competitive, fun game. That the other two, your game against Philly could be very competitive and interesting too. But there's possibility for a possible blowout in that one. The Buffalo game could possibly be a blowout. I expect the Tampa-Washington game to be a fairly competitive game. Unless Washington can't stop Tampa's running game at all, then Tampa's just going to run all over them, and it's going to be a fairly easy game for Tampa. But I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be a fun day of playoff football today.
Yeah, it's been a fun weekend. It started back in college on Thursday night. Man, we've been saying, like I said for weeks, all I want is good games. I just want good games, no dog in the race. Just give me good games. And by God, we got two good games in the semifinals. Notre Dame, Penn State. Slow start. I mean, we were talking about it on air, and I think on Thursday night, then when we went off air, I felt like that game kind of picked up a little bit in that fourth quarter. And then Drew, man, Penn State, what are you doing? You could either play for, you can't tell you. Everybody was kind of talking before this game, like, oh, Drew Allard could be a first-round pick this year if he comes out. He's, a lot of scouts like him. I didn't see it. And then you do the fatal mistake of throwing across your body. Right. That's quarterback 101. You don't throw across your body like that. And he threw across his body. Pick, and then Notre Dame gets it, kicks the field goal for the win. Like that, I was surprised. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to play for overtime, but you can't throw that. You can't throw that play. Can't throw that.
No, I'm with you on that one, and it's not like he's a true freshman or a redshirt freshman. I mean, he's got experience. He's got a lot of college games under his belt. Like mistakes like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could have all the talent, but when between the ears, you just can't make mistakes like that. That was a horrible one, and for all the props that Franklin gets for what he does, he tends to lose these big games. And then there was a lot of talk between him and the coach for Notre Dame before the game was even played. So, I as a kid, I liked Penn State. Growing up, I like Penn State in Miami. Obviously, I'm a Kings fan, but I always liked Penn State as well. But I ain't gonna front. I was happy. Not that I like Notre Dame either, because I'm not a big Notre Dame fan either. But I was happy that Franklin lost after all the shit that he was talking about the Notre Dame coach and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a hard way to lose a game. A game that was a battle back and forth and stuff, and you have an opportunity there. But like you said, that's quarterback 101, not throwing against your body like that. And for all the people that are saying that he could possibly be a top pick, I didn't see it. I didn't see it at all. So I'm with you on that one.
Maybe not this year, maybe next year, but I'd go back to Penn State and
you may want to go back one more year and kind of polish things off. And you know what I'm saying?
Real quick, did you know Notre Dame? So like you get money, right, for going to all these like the playoffs. So I think they got $20 million. Now so like Penn State or Ohio State, everybody else, they spread that money. They have to spread that money out
in the conference.
The conference. Well, Notre Dame.
That's all theirs. That's all theirs. They don't have to share with nobody.
They get $20 million to go towards the NIL. I'm like, shit. If you're Notre Dame, you could now you can go out and get the best players again. Now, some of them,
it's nice being an independent. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to share. You don't have to share no money with no conference. You can just keep it all for yourself or whatever. But as a Miami Hurricane fan, this is possibly the worst national title matchup that you can possibly think of. Notre Dame and Ohio State, two teams that Miami fans hate. These two teams.
Yeah, speaking of Ohio State, I mean that game was good too. I thought so. The way that game played out, I mean, Ohio State gets it, just runs right down the field, and you're just like, oh shit, they made that look easy. Like it's gonna be a long night for these boys in Texas. And then Texas defense just kind of kept going and kept fighting and kept, you know what I mean, kept it close. The play of the game, I thought, was Texas ties it up, and then 30 seconds before the half ends, 75-yard touchdown running, or you know what I mean, like shit, you can't have like you scored to tie it up. And now I know Ohio State didn't really capitalize because they got the ball in the second half and they threw the interception, but then it's 21-14 and Texas is driving. And then just the look on Stark's face, like he knew, like as soon as that fumble, that boy looked like James Harrison back in the Super Bowl. Just scoop and score. Like, you could see like everybody in Texas was just like, because there was only like 2 minutes left at that point.
That was a nice way to cap off a win there for Ohio State.
I guess they could quit thinking about firing Ryan Day now. Like his job's safe. Like you can.
It should have been safe anyway. I mean, I know. Some of these schools, dude, some of these college schools and the boosters is just like, oh my god, bro. Like the mentality that they have, where they just feel like they're entitled to certain things and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man. Like, I mean, what has he lost? Like 5 games total, 6 games total in the whole time that he's been coaching. And a couple of them are to Michigan, and that's your arch rival. But he every year he puts you in position to win a title. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So come on, man. Like calm your asses down there. And I would think Ohio State probably wins this game against Notre Dame. They just have so much more talent. But I mean, obviously they got to play it on the field. But
it's 9.5. Ohio State's favorite 9.5.
Yeah, I mean they Yeah, I mean they were highly ranked for a reason. There's been so much talk about the overall talent on that roster. Yeah. For Ohio State. So again, for the Ohio State fans that are crying and bitching and moaning about their coach because they lose to Michigan, if you win a title, are you really gonna care? You know what I'm saying? Let Michigan feel happy with their one win against you this year, even though they completely sucked this year. But As far as this game against Texas, I was hoping that Texas would do a little more to possibly win this game. You say again, as a Miami fan, I wanted Ohio State to lose, but the Eller kid from Texas, like I have no confidence in that kid at all, bro. Like I don't know what all the Ewers, whatever. I don't have any confidence in that kid. You know what I'm saying? Being a dude at all. So it should be the Arch Manning show next year, I would assume.
Yeah,
so
the Ewers said he's going pro. He'll probably be the third or fourth quarterback taken.
Oof. Well, I
right now it's it's still early, but right now it's Cam or Shador 1, 2,
right, and then him 3.
Jaden Milroe or Quentin Ewers is 3 or 4.
Oh God.
Yeah,
they were in line about this being a weak quarterback class going into the draft. So, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of his at all. I was surprised that they didn't give Arch a chance, but I think they're making sure to not put him in any type of situation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Give him a clean slate for next year. But it's gonna be interesting. But that Texas defense, they did all they could to keep them in that game, because I'm with you. I thought it was going to be a possible blowout the way Ohio State went down the field with no problem that first drive. So, but Ohio State, Notre Dame now, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that one.
Yeah, 9.5 to me a pretty darn big spread though. But I just think talent for talent, Ohio State's better. Really, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm with you on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is a blowout. Real quick to back up the Michigan Ohio State. Nick Saban said, we lost to Auburn and won the national championship game. Nobody remembers that we lost to Auburn. So it's like if Ohio State wins the national championship game, nobody's going to remember that they lost to Michigan and Desmond Howard goes, I will. So,
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Only Auburn fans remember the fact that they beat Alabama that year, and only Michigan people are going to remember that they beat Ohio State this year.
You know what? You don't have a national title game that they won last year, but you didn't win this year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
Shout out to the Big Ten here representing.
Yeah, there they are
in the national title game. So,
yep.
But yeah. There ain't not much to talk about in the old baseball world or the NBA. I kind of talked about and you mentioned a little bit on Monday night about the Jimmy Butler situation here, and that continues to be issue. Real quick though, the other night we did get Oklahoma versus the Cavs, and the Cavs. Not that it means much now, but those are the two best teams in the NBA. I could see OKC making it to the finals. I'm not too sure about Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, OKC, you saw like the last couple years, they've just been putting themselves in this position. They've just gotten better and better every year. SGA is a top 2 or 3, top 5 at worst player in the entire league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Cleveland, it has been a surprise this season. They've got some good young talent. All that good young talent is coming together, led by Donovan Mitchell. I really like what Cleveland's doing. I was not expecting Cleveland to be able to continue this pace that they're on, but 33-4.
They did this last year though. Remember they were the 2 seed last year, I think.
Yeah, but it was still kind of like, is it real? But now to do it back-to-back years, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was still the threat of, well, Boston just seems like the best, you know what I'm saying? And people still may think that Boston is still the overall better team, but
I think it's 7 games I would favor Boston. So I would favor 7 games the Knicks over the Cavs.
Possibly. I mean, I think the Knicks have to do something it probably goes 7. And again, the playoffs is a different animal than the regular season, especially in this era of NBA basketball with load management and guys not playing every game. You know what I'm saying? So, but Cleveland, keep doing what you're doing. But that was a nice matchup with them against OKC. OKC is so much fun to watch, bro. SGA is just he's a lot of fun to watch. That kid right there, man. And it's not all about just threes and stuff with him. He's got the mid range. He can go to the basket at any time. He's a lot of fun. And to think that the Clippers had him there and they traded him away for what, Paul George.
Paul George, yeah.
Good job there, Clippers.
Yeah, you don't think you wouldn't want SGA now?
Right.
So especially the way Kawhi's not playing. So
I mean it's almost like he's done. You know what I'm saying? And then they were able to get the Clippers were able to get away from Paul George, who doesn't seem like he even wants to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? He just wants those checks, but but no, it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA keeps going. We'll see what happens when we get to the trade deadline, if there's any kind of moves made that because there's always something going on in the NBA when it comes to the trade deadline. But it's going to be interesting to see if Cleveland can keep it going. But I like OKC's chances over there. The Rockets are having a nice year, but those are definitely the two best teams right now. I mean, Boston obviously is right there as well, but Cleveland and OKC, they're definitely having a dominant season so far.
I agree. Let's we'll jump right into our top 5 of the week. So we did. I don't know if I told you performances or wild card games, but I did wild card games. So
I went with games as well. So I'm right there with you on that one.
Sports Guy Talk says OKC will win the championship. Hey, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
I wouldn't be surprised. And the crazy part is that Chet's been out for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they're not even like fully healthy, and they're playing as well as they are. So I would. It'd be nice to see OKC win a title. The top 5 wild card games. I'm ready for it. All right, my number 5, and I had to put this one on the list because this is the last playoff game that my Miami Dolphins have won. It was the 2000. It was the 99 season. The 2000 in January of 2000, Miami beat Indianapolis 23-17. Lamar Smith had 40 carries for 209 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 17-yard touchdown run in overtime to beat Peyton Manning. Dave Wanstead pulling a Dave Wanstead and running his running back into the ground. But whatever it takes to win a game. But yes, that is the last time the Miami Dolphins have won a playoff game, was in the year 2000. So there you go, Dolphin fans.
My number 5 is the Tim Tebow game. Way back in,
that was the one that I bumped off so that I could just have one Dolphin, Dolphin thing on this list.
January 8th, 2012, in overtime, the only walk-off overtime, the Broncos, as they did all that whole season, fourth quarter, they rallied off 20 unanswered points, and in that game. Denver 17. They so the second half was all Pittsburgh though, as the team outscored Denver 17-3. It tied the game up, but as we know, first play the game in overtime, Tebow hits Demaryius Thomas.
That was awesome, bro. I remember watching that live, bro. That was just like I couldn't believe that happened. But when he hit him on that slant and he got the angle, I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe this kid just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers when he could barely throw a 5-yard out. You know what I'm saying? So props to Tim Tebow and the Denver Broncos. That was definitely a memorable game. Like I said, that I actually had on my list, and I was like, wait, I got to put at least one Dolphin. You know what I'm saying? I had to verify that was a wild card game for my Dolphin one. Yeah, but it definitely was because they haven't gotten any further than that. So I should have known that the Dolphin one was a wild card game. My number 4 is January 2004. Your Packers against the Seattle Seahawks, 33-27. This was the infamous Matt Hasselbeck talking shit at the coin toss, saying we want the ball and we're gonna score. And then after each team had a possession where nothing happened, Seattle got the ball back, and Matt Hasselbeck immediately throws a pick 6 to Al Harris.
No, neither team got the ball. Like Seattle got the ball, and then the very next.
Oh, it was immediate.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they both had the ball one time each,
no, it was
and then
immediate. That's what makes it so.
geez. Damn, Matt
what I
Hasselbeck.
remember.
That makes it even
We
worse,
want the
bro.
ball, and we're gonna score. And then on that
Right.
drive, a pick
On that
six to Al
same
Harris.
drive, pick six.
Yeah.
Again, I remember watching that. I remember hearing him say that shit.
That's on my list, but it's a little higher, obviously. For
yeah,
reasons.
of course. But hearing him say that at the coin toss, I remember thinking, oh, bro, don't, and then boom, and then for you to be the one to throw the picks, like talk about something that he wakes up late at night, like what the fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We want
so
the
that's
ball.
my number. That's my number 4. Yeah, we want the ball and we're gonna score. Okay.
I remember I couldn't. I watched most of that game, but I had to leave at during the fourth quarter because I had basketball practice. Okay. So I had to Sunday, because we had a game on Monday or some shit. So I just remember getting ready, and I was sitting out there, and my coach I think he had it not on his phone obviously, but he had it on the laptop or something, and it was we were following on ESPN, and he could come. He's like, Bodkins, I've been a Packers fan my whole life, even in high school. So he's like, Packers won, and we want the ball, we're gonna score. And I was like, oh shit, we won. So I remember
so you had to go home and see it on SportsCenter and see Chris Berman and them talk about it, right?
yeah. I couldn't watch it live because I remember we was just getting ready to start practice, and my coach had come out. He's like, hey, Bodkins, the Packers won. Matt Hasselbeck threw a pick six, so I was like, oh shit, and then I had to run. It is what it is. My number 4, it probably could be higher. But when you have a name, there's always these games, right, that have a name to it. And so I went with the Music City Miracle way back in January 8th, 2000. Tennessee Titans in the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, Frank Wycheck throws the ball to Dyson. Dyson runs it, beats the Bills, and they end up going to the Super Bowl that year. Lose on the 1 yard line. So it's they had one miraculous play, and then they so I went with the Music City Miracle as my number 4. What's your number?
That was actually higher on my list, but
okay.
My number 3 is January 2011, Seattle 41, New Orleans 36. This was the year that Seattle made the playoffs with a 7-9, with a 7-9 record. And there was so much talk about they didn't deserve to be there, and that New Orleans was going to beat them down, and all this and that. It was a really good competitive game back and forth, and that was one of the greatest runs you're ever going to see, playoff or not.
Yeah, I really wrote on my number 3, Beastquake. Yeah,
Beastquake. Right, Marshawn Lynch with one of the greatest runs you will ever see, to cap off that victory there for Seattle. And again, they were getting shitted on so much because they were 7-9 and made the playoffs. But yeah, that diving into the end zone there, holding his crotch to basically say F you to everybody that was hating on them. But that was one of the greatest runs that I had ever seen. That was a lot of fun.
To Seattle, I felt like that game oh, here comes the Seahawks, because a couple of years later they're playing in the Super Bowls,
Yep. So I'm with you on that one. It's just it's a shame that Pete Carroll didn't remember that when they were at the 1 yard line about how good Marshawn Lynch was. Dumbass.
Yeah. So I had that. I had that as my number 3. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is the Music City Miracle, like you said. I got to see that game live. When I first saw it, I thought it was a forward pass, but I could not believe what I was seeing. But as a Dolphin fan, I couldn't have been happier to see Buffalo lose that game. So for the Tennessee Titans to win that game in that manner was absolutely awesome, and it was just super exciting. And I'm not even a Tennessee Titan fan, and I was jumping up and down like I couldn't believe it. And then, like you mentioned, they actually make it to the Super Bowl, and I was pulling for Steve McNair and the Titans. I wanted them to win that game against the greatest show on turf and the St. Louis Rams. It was it was a lot of fun. But Music City Miracle is my number 2 top wild card game.
Yeah, my number 2 is the aforementioned. We want the ball and we're going to score game. So
yeah,
I think we probably have the number 1. Is it January 3rd, 1993?
Absolutely. Yes. January 3rd, 1993. A 16-year-old. Actually, I had it already. Yeah, 60. Yeah, I had to turn 17. Yeah, I turned 17 in March that year. 16-year-old Johnny Cruz watching the NFL playoffs, and I loved Warren. Frank Wright of all people, not Jim Kelly, because Jim Kelly was hurt. Frank Wright was quarterbacking, and I've always loved Warren Moon, and I love those Houston Oilers uniforms. So I was super excited that the Houston Oilers were beating the crap out of the Buffalo Bills. It was 35 to 3 at one point early in the second half, and then all of a sudden it was just like a snowball turned into an avalanche, and it was just like Houston could not do anything to possibly stop Frank Wright and the Buffalo Bills. Andre Reed looked like he was always open. Thurman Thomas. I mean, that Buffalo squad was loaded or whatever, but Frank Wright with the greatest comeback in NFL playoff history.
It remains the biggest comeback in it.
Yeah, that was just insane. Like, to see it in real time happening, like, I could not believe what I was seeing there. And again, as a Dolphin fan, I wanted Buffalo to lose, but at the same time, I couldn't deny what was happening, and it was just so exciting to see it happen. And again, I felt bad for Warren Moon because he was trying, but they couldn't do nothing, bro. They couldn't do nothing to stop that momentum. So that was definitely the top wild card game that I have ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah, real quick, honorable mention for me. It's like a personal one too. For some reason, I'll never forget this game. It was January 3rd, 1999. It was the catch too. Steve Young.
Steve Young, Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, I thought about that one, but yeah, that was good. That's a good honorable mention. That was a good game.
Pat Summerall and John Madden on the call. I remember, like, it's crazy. Look, January 3rd is when that game is being played. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like crazy how like now everything's like shifted down like weeks. I remember I was watching it with my grandpa at my grandparents' house, and like just like hoping that the Packers would win, and he was giving me all types of shit about that game. And for some reason, I loved John Madden, but my grandpa hated John Madden on the call. He was just mouthing Madden the whole time. It's weird, like etched in my memory stone, like watching it on my grandparents' big ass like brown those old school brown TVs. Man, so like I just like still remember that my grandpa giving me a bunch of shit about it. He was a Chiefs fan, but we watched that game together, and I'll never forget that game. So. January 3rd, 1999. That was an honorable mention for me as an incredible. The catch two, as they call it. And that was kind of Terrell Owens' breakout game. Like, really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And that that was towards the end of Steve Young and stuff like that. And that was definitely a memorable game. Again, that was one of the ones I had written down here as a possible. The Tim Tebow one, like you mentioned, your number 5 was there too.
Yeah, The Colts are racing a 28-point lead against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was another good one too. Yeah.
My Packers have been in another one in 2010. That was Aaron Rodgers' first playoff game. They lose 51-45 in overtime. So that was against the Cardinals. And I can't remember the 2 Hail Mary game. I think that was the wild card game, but I can't remember if that was a wild card or division game. As well. That was a different game, but that was up there for me as well. So
I think that the Hail Mary one might have been a wild card game, actually.
I think so too. He had like 2 of them, 2 Hail Marys, and then we lose in overtime. Or like, we couldn't stop fucking Larry Fitzgerald, but sometimes who can? So
yeah, he was something, bro.
So that year they went on to the Super Bowl against the Steelers. Like, I felt like nobody could touch him. Like he was just like it was like fuck it, Larry's. Kurt Warner was just like fuck it, Larry's down there somewhere, and he would just get like
right. Yeah, I mean that made my middle son an Arizona Cardinals fan. Was that Super Bowl? You know, what I'm saying we were at a Super Bowl party at a neighbor's house, and everybody was there. Just and he was little. He was only a few years old or whatever at the time, but he liked the Arizona, the Cardinal on the helmet, and then the plays that Larry Fitzgerald was making or whatever. So yeah, ever since then he's been a Cardinals fan.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, I thought it was. So Alan's saying it was a divisional game, the 2 Hail Mary games. So
okay. All right. Thank you, Alan.
Yeah. I knew it was. Anyway. Well, that was the best top 5 wild card games. Johnny, you got anything else you want to dump out before we get up out of here?
No, man, I'm good. Just excited to watch some more playoff football. Hopefully, we have some good. I don't obviously don't have a horse in any of these games, so I'm just looking for some fun games to watch. Some hopefully competitive games, not too many blowouts. And it should be interesting to see what happens with these playoff games today. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, the only game I hope is a blowout is my Packers blow out the Eagles. But if not, then, I just hope they're all looking good, and I hope my Packers win. But like I said, I'm pessimistic against it. So we'll see.
I'm with you on that.
I'm not betting no money on it. But shit happens. Maybe we do. Maybe you know what I mean. Like, hey, they proved me wrong before. So.
Yeah, maybe. And again, this kid coming back off a concussion protocol hasn't been practiced. Again, you know what I'm saying? And I've told you from jump. I've been a Jordan Love fan from jump. So maybe this is one of his, you know what I'm saying, coming out parties where he just goes nuts on Philly. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I felt better playing Dallas last year at this time than I did this year, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I get you.
So, all right. Well, that's the show, folks. We'll be back this time next weekend, next Sunday, 8 a.m. Central, 9 Eastern. So be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. For my guy, Johnny Cruz, I'm Bodkins. We'll catch you later on the next episode of Bodkins Show.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.